Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I did a $100 deposit and I picked 5 companies to invest in $20 each. I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and you were able to spend time with family and friends. And what we're looking at right now, this is my taxable M1 stock brokerage account, my Average Joe Dividends portfolio. And I have currently 52 holdings within the portfolio. We'll go over that later. I'll also leave a link below so you can see what is in the portfolio and what percent allocations I have for each of the stocks. But just right off the bat, I'll let you know that the majority of my investments within this portfolio is in an ETF called SCHD. But you can see right now the 1-year return of this portfolio is a money weighted return of 18.4%. Then when you include dividends, it's at 23.39%. You can see we had highs here in late November. We went down a little bit in mid-December. Looks like we're tracking upwards once again. So this could be one of these tops and then troughs here. You can see that here, and another one, and another one, another one. Just kind of has been kind of what has been happening over the last year. But you can see though we keep going to new all-time highs. But of course, past performance does not indicate future results, and we'll see what happens over time. We could have a big dip happen where we go way down here, and but that's what the stock market does. But so far so good. Just little drops here and there, again with the market going up overall. So let's go into the activity log and we will take a look and see what those 5 buys were. We're also going to see what effect that has on my future dividend income. And we can see here's the deposit from this morning, the $100. I had 1 cent left over, so I applied that, and that's why we have $100 and 1 cent. So we'll go into each of the 5 buys and we'll look at the fractional shares that were purchased for each of these as well. So first up was Procter & Gamble for $20, and $20 bought 0.11834 of a share. And we'll see again what the result was for adding to future dividend income for these fractional shares. And then next up, JP Morgan, and I applied that extra penny, so $20.01 bought 0.08269 of a share of JP Morgan. And then Pepsi that $20 bought 0.13118 of a share. And then next up, Hershey's, which has been struggling lately, as well as Pepsi, really. So that bought 0.11761 of a share of Hershey's. And then last up, KKR. $20 bought me 0.13146 of a share of KKR. And KKR has been more of a growth play for me. It does pay a dividend, but it's not a big dividend. But within this portfolio, I don't just want high dividend payers. I want things that are going to pay me a little bit of everything. I want income as well, but I also want a growing income from these investments. And also I want a stock appreciation as well. That's why I have things like Nvidia in here, which pays a tiny dividend, but it's been growing for me like crazy. You can see what it's done here with the 907% increase over my investment. You can see my cost basis and then the value pretty much 10xing my money. And some of these have not been great for growth, but they pay a high dividend. Look at Verizon. You can see I've lost $83.39, but it's paid more in dividends. So this has been more of an income play. And so I have a mixture of like Nvidia's and Verizon's in here and things in between that have been decent growers and then also paying a decent dividend. And I would put I would put AbbVie in that camp for paying a decent dividend now and also growing that dividend for later and also growing in stock appreciation. So let's go on over to the Google Docs spreadsheet, which tracks all the 52 positions within my portfolio, and it tracks it by company ticker symbol. Also has the share price, which is using a Google Finance function to pull that share price live. So we're going to see these numbers change as, again, it is live. Here's the average share price I've paid here for PNC, for example. Here are the shares that I own. It's using a VLOOKUP on the M1 data tab. We're going to get to that in just a second too. And then the value, that's just multiplying the shares, the C column, times the share price. So E times C to get the value. Here's my cost basis here for each position. Here's my gain or loss in dollars. Here's the gain or loss in a percentage. Anything above 25% will be in green. Here's the dividends per share. I have two monthly pairs with Realty Income and BST. And BST just paid me recently on the 24th. You can see that dividend that rolled in, that $4.9919. And everything on this sheet, it is arranged by the pay date. So once PNC announces their new dividend pay date, I'll put that in there and then resort this sheet. It'll reshuffle the deck, so to speak. So we can see everything in the dark greens. These are my December pairs. Here are the dividends that I received, and here's the next dividend. You can see the next dividend for Kroger, for example, will be higher, since what I'm doing is I am dripping the dividends I received back into the stock which paid it. So the dividend drip of 524 made the next dividend become 527. I'm going to grab this data here. We're going to take a look at the dividends paid so far in December. So in December, I've received $1,715.02 just from this portfolio alone. This is about 15% of my total net worth. I have investments elsewhere, and we'll actually go over the amounts I've received so far in those as well. And then let's scroll down to what I'm going to receive on the 28th. Today is the 26th, so on Saturday I'll wake up and receive that 40 cents from Nvidia, and then the 534 from Lockheed Martin, and then on the 31st I'll receive those dividends to close out my dividends for December. Then we'll start it all over again with the January pairs. You can see right here, and all my January pairs have declared their dividends. That's in the light green. So we'll see what those dividends are. It's not as simple as adding up the next dividend, because I may have purchased like Pepsi, for example, after the X dividend date. So I'm not going to receive the higher dividend or this full 1841, which is going to actually go up higher because we actually bought more fractional shares just minutes ago. And I've put those new amounts out here, actually the current ones. We can see where I've bought Procter & Gamble. We're going to see the next dividend go up there, and as well as KKR. Hershey's is buried in here since they've just paid their dividend. That 11.14, we're going to see that go up, and we'll see what that's going to be in just a second as we import the new data with those fractional shares for the 5 companies where I bought more fractional shares into those. Again, it was for Procter & Gamble, KKR, Hershey's, and then Pepsi and JP Morgan. You can see also the total dividends received. We'll go over that. So I've received over $10,000 so far for BST. And then I also count up the last increase for each of these. BST has not increased their dividend, their 25-cent dividend, for a few years. I'm hoping that changes soon, because that would have a large impact on my BST dividend, their next one. And since they're not a constant dividend increaser year over year, I've put in VAR, which is variable. Then O, on the other hand, does multiple dividend increases throughout the year, so I put them in the variable camp as well. We can see in January, though, Yum Brands, I will likely get a close to, we'll see maybe another 10% dividend increase from Yum in January. But we'll see though. So let's scroll down to the bottom here. We can see Here's the monthly, quarterly, and annual cash flow from this portfolio. I've hard coded in the amounts here, but it's going to change for the next, after the update, after those 5 stock purchases are recorded here. So I'm going to grab some data from the M1 data tab over here. I'm going to go to the holdings tab. We're going to grab that data, and again, I'll leave a link below so you can see what's in this portfolio, and I'll just scroll really slowly so you can see really quickly before I grab the data. And again, SCHD is the largest position at over $100,000 of the $274,000 that's in the portfolio. And I'll scroll down here. And NVIDIA is the largest holding that's an individual stock. But you can see it's just mostly household names here, like McDonald's and Pepsi, Home Depot, Starbucks, just things we really see every day, Coca-Cola. So nothing really obscure here. And Lockheed Martin is the smallest position within the portfolio right now. Of course, that changes as I invest more money and as stocks go up and down. So I'm grabbing all this information, and what this is going to do is going to update the new shares, new average price and cost basis for those 5 positions where I bought fractional shares. So to update that, I go to the M1 data tab, and with the VLOOKUPs, it updates the new shares, cost basis, and average for those 5 positions. In positions where I didn't buy anything, it does not change them. So do a pay special values only in the A column, and for SCHD again, it's not going to change those since I did not buy any of those, and it's arranged just like it is on the M1 page from the largest position to the smallest position. So back to the dividend portfolio tab, and it's going to change those amounts for the next dividend for Procter & Gamble. The old dividend was going to be $10.34 for 3 months after here in February, from $10.34 to $10.46, and then the KKR, their next dividend in February, from $2.72 to $2.75. And then Hershey's, I believe it was $11.14 was the new next dividend, and we'll see what that is real quick here. So moving from $11.14 now to $11.30, and that will be their next new dividend in March. And then Pepsi, we're probably past the ex-dividend dates, well past it, but we're moving from $18.41 to $18.58 for Pepsi, and that will be in April. That will be the new dividend. And then JP Morgan, moving from $8.30 to $8.40. I believe that covers all those. And then the new monthly cash flow average is moving from $10.3368 to $10.3387. And then quarterly, moving from $3,101.03 to $3,101.61. And then the new annual cash flow average, so this is the annual paycheck, moving from $12,404.12 to $12,406.44. We're going to carry over the $10.3387 to the monthly average dividend tracking tab. That was $10.3387, and that was the result of the $100 deposit. So it added 19 cents to the monthly income for this portfolio. I know that does not seem like much. It is not much, but when I'm doing 2 buys per week, and I also have dividend drips, look at the dividend drip from BlackRock and BST did, added $3.39, and you can see here with deposits and drips on top of there, and then a $100, or actually did a $1,000 deposit, and this was done on the 19th. I did that to kind of rebalance the portfolio. Some of the slices were getting kind of out of whack, and I'll show you right now how we're balanced right now with the 3 different slices, and we're pretty close. We're only off by 0.1% for ETFs and 0.1% for a dividend portfolio. We're over allocated here on 12 more dividends. And my plan in 2025 is to, instead of dripping the dividends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let those dividends rebalance the portfolio. There will be one time a week where I will select 5 stocks for $20. I'll keep that intact, but on Mondays I'll still do the $100, and it'll be based upon my actual targets, whatever's underweighted, overweighted. Obviously anything underweighted is where the money is going to go to first. So on the Mondays, the $100 as well as the dividends are going to balance the portfolio. So let's go ahead and go to the dividend tracker tab. You can see I've been tracking these dividends in the portfolio and portfolio value since January 2021, and that's also the same time I've been doing these videos. So I've been doing these videos for almost 4 years. And we can see the portfolio value and dividends paid there and compare it to where we're at right now with the portfolio value in December 2024. We're right now at $274.5. This is rounded to the nearest $100. Here are the dividends paid so far. We're not quite done with December. We have a little bit more to go. And we can see here's the Q4 dividends, and SCHD threw this off with an unusually high Q3 because it paid twice in Q3, and that's the reason for that. But look at the annual dividends from 2023 to 2024, and we're way ahead of schedule from last year. Take a look at December 2023. We're way ahead where we were a year ago, and 1550 was pretty much, it was close to the, it was the highest before in 2023, but we've beat it a couple times right here, actually once with September and now December 2024. So the dividends are definitely trending upwards and getting higher and higher as we go. Here's the average monthly dividend for the portfolio in December. You can see how we're going upwards here. We've added $31.95 in dividend income going forward for the month of December. That was a month-over-month increase of 3.19%. And then the annual dividends are $12,406.44. And then the annual increase, we've added $383.40 to the annual income, additional $100 here. And what I'm thinking of doing is, rather than seeing these drops, you can see where SCHD announces their new dividend. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that dividend in once the new dividend is announced in March. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take the average dividend for SCHD for 2024 and just lock it here rather than change it. There it is, SCHD. I think it was like it was 0.24 something and change. Rather than do that now, I'm going to do it in March because it'll be less of a change to the monthly cash flow average, and just keep that for 2025 and just make it easier that way. And actually it's over, I'm tracking it over here. I actually did that on this line right here, and this is an annual amount. This is the 2024 dividends for SCHD. So what I'll probably do is just take this amount and divide it by 4 and put that as the new amount. It's rounding it to 0.25, and let's move that out to, yeah, that's the number. So I'll probably put in 0.2485 for that amount, because I know SDHD is going to announce a lower dividend. It could be like probably 23 cents, 22 cents, and to make it less jarring, so I don't have to explain all the time the drops in the months. I'm just going to do that and have it happen one time and then go forward with it. And it also won't have the big increases either, but I just want to show a more smooth kind of increase of the dividends rather than have it go up and down like that. It's kind of jarring and confusing. So to close out the video, we're going to go over my total net worth. And again, what I have over here, this portfolio, my average Joe dividends portfolio, this is 15% of my current net worth approximately. I have an IRA at M1, But to show it, I have to have another window open, and we'll get to that in a second though. But I have over at Vanguard, I have an IRA, a Roth brokerage account, and a taxable brokerage account. You can see we count that up, it's at $479 and change. Here's my current employer 401k. It's in a Fidelity S&P 500 index fund at 102.5. And then here's, I was talking about the M1 Finance. I have an IRA over there, and that's valued at 712.9. It's an boring index fund. Same with all this, pretty much everything else except for what's in my M1 taxable brokerage account is it is but again, this where I do have the individual positions, the bulk of it is in, it's an ETF in a closed-end fund over here. So I'm a big believer in having ETFs, like index funds, for the base of my wealth. And then here again, here's the dividend portfolio we went into at length. Here's my 1-year emergency fund over at M1 getting 4% interest. It was higher than the Synchrony. I don't want to keep pinballing money around, but my 6-month emergency fund is over at Synchrony at 4.1. Synchrony has been a really good savings account where it may not be the highest at the time, but over time Synchrony is always in the top 5. And I think the leaders in, if they're providing 4.25, 4.3 or whatever, they change all the time, but Synchrony just seems to always be up there as one of the best. I've had good luck with them. So I've had a Synchrony account for years. So if M1 keeps their interest rates lower than Synchrony for a little while, I'll probably move this over, probably move 25,000 over to Synchrony to have my 1-year emergency fund, and then have the 6-month over at M1. But we'll see. And then over at Capital One, I have this is where I keep just really my money's, kept to kind of pay the bills, so to speak, where I pay my mortgage out of and things like that. And it's 2 months of expenses is what I generally keep over there, about $10,000. And then here's my home value. Here is my current credit card balance, which is not due until I think the 8th or 9th of January. So I'm holding out to get my next paycheck to pay that off. And I could pay it off easily right now. You can see with that amount right there. But there's no rush because it's not due yet. And just to let you know, I don't carry a balance over with my credit card. I know sometimes it can't be helped. I've been in that position before. I get it. If you're in that position, I hope you can get out of it and pay off that balance as soon as possible. I would be doing that before watching any finance videos relating to investing. I would pay that credit card balance off first. Just concentrate on that. Do that. Maybe even student loans as well. I would just get rid of that before thinking about investing, especially if it's high interest student loans. And then here's my mortgage at 6.25%. I've been making like $2,000 mortgage payments when my liability, when I'm supposed to pay is $1,272. So I've been adding more to it. Here's my total net worth back over the $1.8 million mark. Here's the breakdown in stocks, home equity, in cash. And then you can see the breakdown with pre-tax and after-tax as well. And then here's the U.S. international breakdown. And here's my average monthly dividend for all sources. And that kind of went up a little bit because I updated the 2024 dividends for all the ETFs. And before I had the 2023 dividends. And I was using the same philosophy of what I'm thinking of doing with SCHD is not changing the quarterly, but just putting in the prior years and then making an average monthly dividend for those, so it's not going up and down all the time. It's more static. So again, it's 34. So in essence, if I am 59 and a half, which I'm not, I have about seven plus years for that, where I will be eligible to just take this pretty much a paycheck of $34.66.11. Of course, that is not what the amount's going to be in 7+ years. It's going to be higher. This also includes the interest from savings accounts, just kind of let you know that. So I could easily, once my house is paid off, I could easily live off this and not even have to sell any shares of anything, just take interest and then the dividends from my investments. And that's my plan. That's why I do these videos too on the dividend portfolio, because I wish I would have started this sooner and I would have had financial independence a lot sooner. But of course, I would have invested in my 401k as well. I know some people they go crazy with doing it one way, or just investing in a dividend portfolio. I believe in investing in ETFs as well. You don't have to do it. Doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can have a dividend portfolio on the side and also have these more quote safer investments, or your 401k as well. So that's all I had to show you for this video. I'll go back to the buys, and again, these are curated by me. I picked these to invest in, and I think especially Pepsi and Hershey's are on sale, at least in my opinion. The rest of these are more, I just want to build these positions a little bit higher.